Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsacharuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma mritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us offer our salutations to Lord Krishna, the son of Vasudeva Devaki, who killed Kamsa and Chanura, were tormenting the people. Sri Krishna, who gave the most uplifting message of Gita, we shall offer our salutations to him. We shall pray to him to lead us from unreal to real, to lead us from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. Chapter 1 we have finished. We are just starting the chapter 2. In chapter 2, Arjuna accepts the position as a disciple of Lord Krishna, and taking complete of him, requests the Lord to instruct him in how to dispel his lamentation and grief. This chapter is most important. It is often deemed as a summary to the entire Bhagavad Gita. Here, many subjects are explained, such as Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Sankhya Yoga, Buddhi Yoga. And the Atma, which is the soul. Predominance has been given to the immortal nature of the soul, existing within all living entities, and it has been described in great detail. In the first chapter we saw Arjuna, the warrior king, who is supposed to protect the land from the unrighteous, come forward to do the job with the help of Lord Krishna. But when he saw his own kith and kin in opposition, suddenly he was moved by sentimentality and momentarily forgot his duty. Because of his intense emotion, he underwent physical changes, shivering of the body, drying of the throat, and nearly fainted from despondency. And in that most terrible condition, he decided not to fight. His bow, which had never failed, dropped from his hand. He lost courage and sat quietly, silently in his chariot. Now, to interpret the situation allegorically, we should each think that we are Arjuna. Very often we fail to perform our duties because we get involved in so many things, personal attachments. For example, thinking it is mine, it is dear to me, how can I do away with this? Mainly likes and dislikes. Wherever there is this personal attachment, sentimentality arises and we fail to do our duties well. This is Arjuna's situation. Now Lord Krishna will try to remind Arjuna of his duty. That is the entire purpose of the Gita. It is not that the Lord is interested in making Arjuna fight a war and destroy some wicked people. Had he really wanted to do only that, He could have done so with just a snap of his fingers. He doesn't need Arjun or anybody else. Arjun is only an excuse to show the entire world how people should perform their duties. We are all governed by duties. And we must know exactly what duty means, and they must know how to do it. Every stage is important. Unfortunately, nowadays, this kind of education is not given to people at all in the younger days, and so they're completely exposed to the materialistic things, not giving any attention to the spirituality. So we find the consequences, how wretched we are feeling in modern days. Tremendous violence, hatred, killings, robbery, so many things. Every day you read newspaper full of such things, because they are not giving attention to the spiritual values. That is the sad part of it. But we will face the consequences of that. Anyway, Lord Krishna has given the message. Whoever is wise, try to practice it in a humble way. Sanjaya, who was reporting everything to Dhritarashtra, the blind king, he said, Tam tata kripaya vishtam ashrupurna kulekshana vishidantamidam vakyam uvacha Madhusudanaha. When Sri Krishna saw Arjuna overcome with sentiment, despondent, eyes blurred with tears of despair, Lord Krishna spoke these words. In a way, Sri Krishna is trying to awaken Arjuna about things to be done. So he said, Kutastva kashmalamidam vishame samupastitam anaryajustam asvargyam akirtikaram Arjuna. From whence arises this shameful and cowardly dejection, which at this dangerous moment bars the way to heaven? So, these words Sri Krishna uses deliberately to kindle Arjuna's pride. Klaibyam masumam partha naitatva yupapadyade kshudram hridayadaur balyam tyaktvottishta parantapa. Now Sri Krishna tells Arjuna very emphatically not to yield to weakness. He told him not to succumb to the unmanliness. He said to him, it doesn't suit you. Shake off this petty faint-heartedness. Stand up, scorcher of foes. Wake up. So like that, Sri Krishna gives a shock, a jolt to Arjuna to wake him up from the sleep of weaknesses. Many times we often act like the despondent Arjuna. Oh, I just don't know what to do. I can't do it. I can't. So this kind of mantram you constantly hear from people. But the wise people say, you can do it. You have the capacity. No, I can't. You still might say, if you keep on repeating, I can't. What is it but feeble-mindedness? Instead, just say, I can. And you can definitely do it. Nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible. Only thing is, we must have strong will, and you must apply the will properly. Then everything works out. But still Arjun uses his own arguments, which seem to him very reasonable, to expound his view. Arjun said, Katam Bhishmamaham Sankhe Dronancha Madhusudana Ishubi Pratiyotsyami Pujarga Varisudana. O Krishna, how can I ever fight with venerable Bhishma and Drona, who are worthy of my worship? My grandfather Bhishma and Drona, my own archery master, they are there facing us. They are worthy of my worship. You know that. It is true. But what should come first? If the only choice is doing or sparing his own master, if he must choose between these, his duty comes first. Why? Because he is not really destroying the teacher. Lord Krishna explains that later. But until then, Arjun goes on with his own intellectual arguments. Finally, after all that, he reaches a point where he says, Guruna hatva hi mahanubhavan sheyo bhoktum bhaiksham apiha loke hatva artha kamamstu guruni haiva bhunjiya bhogan rudirapradigdhan. It would be better for me to live as a beggar than to kill these great souls who have been my teachers. But if I kill them, even in this world, all my enjoyment of wealth and desires will be stained with their blood. So Arjun began to speak philosophically. Nachaitad vidvakkataranno gariyo yadva jayema edivano jayayuhu yaneva hatvana jijivishamaha devasthitaha pramukhe dhartarashtraha. And indeed I can scarcely tell which will be better, that we should conquer them or that they should conquer us. The very sons of Dhritarashtra, after slaying whom we should not care to live, stand facing us. They are standing in front of us. All those venerable teachers, elders, they all stand facing us. Karpanya doshopahata swabhavaha prachami tvam dharma samudha chetaha yatreyaha syan nishchitam bruhitan me shishyasteyam shadimam tvam prapannam. Arjuna was really sincere, so he acknowledges that he was weak-minded. He tells Krishna, I am weighed down with weak-mindedness. I am confused and cannot understand my duty. I beg of you to say for sure what is right for me to do. I am your disciple. Please teach me, for I have taken refuge in you. So he has surrendered to Sri Krishna. And because of his sincerity and total surrender to the Lord, all his weaknesses were removed. He was brought back to his real senses. He was made to realize what he should do properly. Everything was clarified. Literally, it is a rebirth for Arjuna because he surrendered to Shri Krishna. Shri Krishna took the complete responsibility of uplifting him, thereby giving teachings to the whole humanity. When we face crisis, we should never succumb to it. That's not the solution. Face the crisis calmly, quietly, and take necessary steps required. That's most important. Suppose a person is sick in the home. If you keep on lamenting, terribly shaken because of the sickness of the person, you feel terribly weakened and crying and crying. On the other hand, if you consult a doctor, take necessary steps to give treatment to the sickly person, that is the performance of real duty. Simply lamenting, the person also loses his own health and he'll be confused about what should be done at that point of time. I am your disciple, instruct me. It's a very significant statement. Bible also says, ask, it shall be given. Here Arjuna is asking. He realizes his situation. He has come to know that he knows nothing. That's the best understanding, because if you know that you don't know, you will want to know. If you don't know that, you won't even want to know. If somebody comes to tell you the truth, you will say, I don't need it. This is saying, if a person knows not that he knows not, ignore him. If he knows that he knows, go learn from him. Here is Arjuna ready to learn. The qualifications of a sincere student are clearly shown here. When you go to a teacher saying, I know a little bit, can you add a little more? Or, I know, but can you verify it? You are just going there to check your capabilities, not to learn anything new. If you want to learn, go empty and open. I am an empty cup. Please pour in all you can. If you go with a cup already full, even if the teacher pours something good, where will it go? It is not that he or she is miserly. The teacher would like to pour, but it will overflow and go to waste. So empty your cup. There is a good Zen story of a student who went to a teacher demanding to be taught the secret of enlightenment. There are many interesting stories in Zen Buddhism. Instead of saying something, the teacher began to pour the student a cup of tea. The cup became full, yet the master kept on pouring and the tea spilled over onto the floor. My cup is full, master. Why do you keep on pouring more and more? The student asked. Like this cup of tea, your mind is already filled with something. If I pour my knowledge into your cup, it will just go on to the floor because there is no room in your mind for it. You will interpret my instructions according to what you already think. Your mind will not be able to accept the truth I give you. But Arjuna proves to be a good student. and an honest person. When he says, Nahi prapashyami mama panudya yachoka muchoshanam indriyanam avapya bhumava sapatnamruddham rajyam suranam api chadhipatyam. I don't see any remedy for this deep grief that parches my senses. Even if I were to achieve prosperous and unrivaled royalty here on earth and even over the heavens. It is a very terrible state. Terrible state of grief. Terrible suffering. Then Sanjaya said, Eva muktva hrishikesham gudakeshav parantapaha nayotsi iti govinda muktva tushnim babuvaha. Sanjaya said, after speaking this way to Krishna, the Lord of the senses, Arjun, who is the terror of his enemies, said, O Krishna, I won't fight, and became silent. Arjun was silent, waiting for Lord Krishna's instructions. Lord Krishna cast a beautiful smile at him and began to speak. In following verses, he explains the immortality of the Atman or the Self. He gives some spiritual ideas to Arjun. So spiritual ideas are the basis for our life. Simply you can't go, I don't need all spiritual ideas, etc. That's why people get frustrated and commit all sorts of wretched things, and even they commit suicide also. So they end up in a highly dangerous situation. So philosophy is very important. In fact, it must be taught to everyone. At least they should know what is what. Tamuvacha hrishikeshaha prahasanniva bharata senayor ubhayor madhye vishidantamidam vachaha. Krishna seemed to smile and spoke these words to the despondent warrior Arjun in between the two armies. So, the Bhagavad Gita came into existence mainly because of the delusion and despondency of Arjun. That is, Arjun was in a worst condition, worst position. Now you can understand the glory of the spiritual message. So you must turn to spirituality. That's the purpose. On the battlefield, when Arjun saw all his teachers, relatives, cousins and others, he felt sad. Momentarily he forgot his duty as a warrior protector and didn't want to fight. He wanted to back out. But at the same time, being the learned person that he was, he couldn't just say, I am despondent. He tried to hide that feeling, intellectualizing and saying, oh, what's the use of this fighting? After all, even if I win the kingdom, it is not going to last so long. Why don't we just allow these people to enjoy themselves? By killing all these people, we ourselves may ultimately end up in hell. So he made all kind of excuses using various forms of logic. We see people also do that just to escape from duty. Lord Krishna, the teacher, was just looking at him, nodding his head in and smiling. He said, all right, come on, let me see how much you have learned. Go ahead, exhaust your vocabulary and all your arguments. And finally, toward the end, Arjun admitted, sorry, I am simply blabbering. The fact is, I don't know what to do. Please Master, just tell me what to do. I am ready to do it. I give up my ego and depend upon your advice. So thus he proved himself to be a good student. All his arguments were futile. He realized that all his learning was not helping him. And it is at this point Lord Krishna started talking to him about the nature of the pure self, the Atman, which is indestructible. At the same time he tells Arjuna that having come into this world, each one must perform one's duty. You have been born here as a Kshatriya, a king, a protector. You have to do your duty. You're not doing it for your sake, but for the sake of everybody, to protect the innocent from the wicked. Then the Lord says, Ashocyananva shochastvam prajnavadamscha bhasase gatasuna gatasumscha nanushocandi panditaha. You are grieving for those who should not be grieved for, while uttering would-be words of wisdom. The wise grieve neither for the living nor the dead. Here, Lord Krishna gives the first step in yoga, because all our understanding and practice should be based on knowledge of the immortality of the self, which is what we aim to realize. These verses directly give the theoretical background of yoga, which is called Sankhya Yoga. That's why the entire second chapter is called Sankhya Yoga, the yoga of wisdom. Those who have read about different Hindu schools of thought may have heard of Sankhya as something different, but what Lord Krishna calls Sankhya is direct information about the self. First he explains the situation to Arjuna. You have not harmonized your thought, word and deed. You are thinking one way, but speaking another, and acting in still different way. You know the truth about these people. You have even called them wretched and wicked. They are not afraid to commit the worst crimes, yet you say some compassionate words and fail to perform your duty. That means there is no harmony between your thoughts, words and actions. Such a person falls from yoga. Thus, Lord Krishna warns Arjuna about this falling. Natvevaham jatunasam natvam neme janadhipaha nachaivana bhavishyamaha sarve vayamatav param. There was never a time when I did not exist, nor you nor any of these ruling princes, and neither will there ever come a time when we cease to be. In terms of the Atman, the reality of this self, we always are, we always exist. It is not that we were once non-existent, have now come and will stop existing later on. It's not like that. So Sri Krishna is teaching the glory of the Atman. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yovananjara tata dehantra praptir dhirastatra namuhyati. That which is embodied experiences the body's childhood, youth and old age, and also in time acquires another body. This does not disturb one whose mind is calm. One with a calm mind is not affected when the body undergoes changes. It was conceived, it grows up, dies, then decays and decomposes. There is impermanency in the body. How can that be the immortal self? So Lord Krishna is explaining the nature of death. And here he gives the difference between the permanent and impermanent, the real and the unreal. So we must use our discriminating faculty, we must use our viveka in dealing with things of the life. Matra sprashastu kaunteya sitoshna sukudukadaha agama payanu nityastam sitikshasva bharata. As the senses contact the objects of the senses, feelings of heat and cold, pain and pleasure occur. These sensations come and go. They are impermanent. What you should do? Patiently endure them. That's a great teaching. Endure. Holy Mother Sharda used to say, forbear. That's the strong weapon, bearing with. Yam hina vetyantyete purusham purushashaba samadukha sukham dhiram somratatva kalpate. In fact, that person who is not tossed about by sense experiences and always stays balanced in pain and pleasure is fit to experience immortality. Nasato vidyate bhavo nabhavo vidyate sataha ubhayoropi drishtantastvanayos tattvadarshibhihi. What is not has never been, and what is always is. This truth about the real and the unreal has been realized by the seers. Avinashitu tadviddi yena sarvamidam tatam vinashamavyasyasya nakaschit kattumarrati. Know that all this vast universe is pervaded by that which is indestructible. No one can destroy what is everlasting and imperishable. Antavantaime deha nityasyokta sharirinaha anashino prameyasya tasmat yuddhasva bharata. The indwelling one is eternal, indestructible and immeasurable. The bodies of the indwelling one are impermanent. Therefore, Arjun, don't hesitate to fight. Enam vetti hantaram yaschainam manyate hatam ubhautau na vijanito nayam antina anyate. Whoever thinks that Atman or the self does the killing or can be killed, neither of those knows. That self doesn't kill, nor is it ever killed. Who is seer? Who really knows the truth? The one who distinguishes between the unreal and the real. This is the discriminative knowledge or vivekam. With discrimination, the permanent, which is never changing, is distinguished from the ever changing. But the permanent and the impermanent are not completely different. When we say that something changes constantly, there must be something to change. Without that something, there cannot be any changes. Then what changes? The names and forms of the primordial essence is always there. The one is always there, but it appears to be many. The basic oneness is what is real, that we should understand. For example, let us take water and say it is reality. Steam is one expression of it, and ice is another. But in water and ice, you see the same essence, H2O, nothing but hydrogen and oxygen. Even though we see the changes and work with them, we can always remember that there is something permanent behind them all. That is clearly said here and is referred to as seeing the truth. If ever we want to do something, we should keep an eye on the reality and then do it. If we miss that reality, whatever we do on the superficial level will collapse one day. It is something like a person who goes to a lovely site to build a nice yoga ashrama there, a training facility. He has decided on it, but somehow he comes to know the plot is not good for construction. The soil is loose and nothing can grow there, or the soil is too full of clay and won't support a good sewage system. The location is rejected, however beautiful it is. Najayate mriyate va kadachin nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyaha ajo nityaha shashvatoyam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire. It is not born and it does not die. Unborn, eternal and ancient. The self is not killed when the body is killed. He is actually preparing Arjuna. It is good to know this also, because many are so afraid of death. Why? We lose sight of our immortality. We lose sight of our being Atman and think constantly of becoming that. Lord Krishna simplifies death. It's surprising to see how easily Lord Krishna talks about it. So it is a fear that causes a lot of havoc in our life. If you constantly try to understand the reality and try to live moral and ethical life, following the spiritual disciplines promptly, clearly, you will be able to cross over this life without much difficulty. Even though difficulties come, you feel easy to handle them because you completely started to have full faith in the divine operating the universe. All the situations we come across in life are because of our own actions and behavior in life. So whatever we do, it comes back to us in different ways. So we should know and act properly. That's the way to practice the teaching of Gita in life. Chant the name of the Lord and His glory unceasingly, that the mirror of the heart may be wiped clean and quench that mighty forest fire, worldly lust raging furiously within. O name streamed down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its cup to knowledge of thyself. O self, drowned deep in the waves of His bliss, tasting His nectar at every step, bathing in His name that bought for various souls. Various are thy names, O Lord. In each and every name thy power resides. No times are set, no rites are needful for chanting of thy name. So vast is thy mercy, how huge then is my wretchedness, who find in this empty life and heart no devotion to thy name. O my mind, be humbler than a blade of grass. Be patient and forbearing like a tree. Take no honor to thyself, give honor to all. Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord. O Lord and soul of the universe, mine is no prayer for wealth or retinue, the playthings of lust or the ties of fame. As many times as I may be reborn, grant me, O Lord, a steadfast love for thee. A drowning man in this worldly fearful ocean is thy servant, O sweet one. In thy mercy consider him as dust beneath thy feet. How I long for the day when an instant's separation from thee, O Lord, will be as 1,000 years, when my heart burns away with its desire, and the world without thee is a heartless void. Prostrated at thy feet let me be, in unwavering devotion, neither imploring the embrace of thine arms, nor bewailing the withdrawal of thy presence, though it tears my soul asunder. O thou who stillest the hearts of thy devotees, do with me what thou wilt, for thou art my heart's beloved, thou and thou alone. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, and lead us from death to immortality. May all be free from dangers, may all realize what is good, may all be actuated by noble thoughts, may all rejoice everywhere, may all be happy, may all be free from disease, may all realize what is good, may none be subject to misery. May the wicked become virtuous, may the virtuous reign tranquility, may the tranquil be free from bonds, may the freed make others free. May good betide all people, may the sovereign righteously rule the earth, may all beings ever attain what is good, may the worlds be prosperous and happy, may the clouds pour rain in time, may the earth be blessed with crops, may all countries be freed from calamity, may holy men live without fear. May the Lord, the destroyer of sins, the presiding deity of all sacred works, be satisfied, for he being pleased, the whole universe becomes pleased. He being satisfied, the whole universe feels satisfied.